What's up, everyone? It's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and I was having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier today, and really, it was on the topic of open world games, and if games benefit from being open world, or if they suffer from being open world, or it feels like they just get shoehorned in just to say they have open world, etc., etc. And it really got me thinking on the topic of this video, but I'll get onto that now in a little second anyway. So the main thing we came to conclude on was that ever since Skyrim back in 2011 basically changed what people's expectations were for a Western based RPG, a lot of games have been open world since then. Okay, so let's go off a couple of the ones off the top of my head. Skyrim, obviously open world. More recent, GTA 5, The Witcher 3, Batman Arkham Knight, Watch Dogs, Metal Gear Solid 5. Upcoming games, you've got The Legend of Zelda, Xenoblade Chronicles X. I had another big important one in my head there that just slipped out. I can't remember for the life of me. It was a fairly big and important one. That's all I do remember, and now I forgot it. But anyway, all of that, and whether they benefit from open world or they don't, or where they suffer from open world, or if it's just kind of put in or whatever. But it made me come to the conclusion that open world is basically the new trending mechanic to put into your game. Now, these vary all the time over the years. One game comes out, does something big, and then all the other wannabes rip off it. And that's just a broad example. Don't go, get your panties in a bunch over that. But it's been happening. That's how things change. Otherwise, we'd be playing the same game from 100 different publishers with all the same different stuff. But anyway, with the upcoming Final Fantasy VII Remake, and now I know at the moment we know basically nothing about Final Fantasy VII Remake, but with the upcoming Final Fantasy VII Remake, it does make me wonder what kind of style they're going to go with. Now, there's basically three different ways you can run the world system from Final Fantasy 15. That was the that was the other game in the upcoming list in my mind that had slipped my mind, but is now back. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. There's basically only three different ways you can run an open world style game like this. So, one, are they going to keep it like Final Fantasy 7 as it is now? Are you going to have your smaller areas that encompass multiple areas of a town or city or dungeon or whatever, and then you zone out from those onto a painted style world map similar to what we'd have in Final Fantasy 7? Obviously, it wouldn't be full 3D like you'd see in, say, maybe The Witcher 3 or Final Fantasy 15, and that would be one option for the world map style system. Number two, are we going to see it in something similar to what we have in Final Fantasy VII, but in a big 3D environment? So basically, will you have your small individual areas, maybe 5 or 6 areas just encompassing one town, similar to, like I said, to what we have now in Final Fantasy VII, but then you'll hit a zone line. As you're coming out of the town, you hit a zone line, you get a loading screen, and then you load into a big open 3D world, akin to what you might have in The Witcher 3 or Final Fantasy 15. So that's another way of handling. And then obviously once you get to you're traveling along through there, and once you get to another dungeon or another town or something, you hit another zone line and you get a loading screen and go back to your inner, smaller, maybe 4 or 5 areas style static screen. Or the third one is, are they going to go full on? Now, I can't think of a perfect example for this, simply because I want to use The Witcher 3 as an example, because everything I hear about it points to it being this, but I've never actually played The Witcher 3. So, is it going to have what I can call a seamless integration of 3D town and 3D city and 3D world map, essentially? So, what I mean by that is, you're going to be walking around in your city. It's not going to be like the static style camera broken up into 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 different areas like you'd have in, say, current Final Fantasy VII. But it would obviously be just one big 3D area that you can run around the whole time. Again, I want to use Witcher 3 as an example because I do assume it's like that from everything I've seen and heard. And then you can seamlessly walk into the wilderness, which is also in full 3D. As far as I know, no loading screen, no breakup, anything like that. It just literally, you just walk out of the town, still in full 3D, and goes everywhere from there. So, which one are they most likely to go with? Well, it wouldn't surprise me on whatever one Final Fantasy 15 decides to use. Now, we don't fully know what one Final Fantasy 15 is going to use yet, because the demo we have, which is pretty much just in one open area, which is allegedly only like 10% of that specific area. But we don't have any proper zone lines or proper entrances to another place. So, I mean, we can't go to the edge of the area and find out what would be in a new town or new section, whatever. Is it going to be fully seamlessly 3D integrated? Or is it just going to be, you get to the edge, you see a zone line, you hit the zone line, there's a loading screen of some capacity, and then you're in another 3D place similar to what you're in now. So I think they'll go with whatever is in the whatever it turns out to be in Final Fantasy 15. Not my favorite choice, mind you. Obviously, it's kind of back and forth because it's still not what's the word I'm looking for? Not finalized. But it's very strange. Actually, there was a fourth one. Oh my god, how did I skip over this? The fourth one would be akin to Final Fantasy X, where you would have, one or two, three different four areas to run around in your town. And then to get to the next town, you'd follow a path. And that path would be, 4, 5, 6, 10, whatever, different screens, very similar to what you'd have in a town, but they were all on a big exploratory path or through like a valley or a cave or dungeon, whatever. And that would be another way to connect them all. So that would be 4 possible ways. Personally, for nostalgia's sake, I think, I want to say the world map style. But if I say the world map style, I think possibly the best option to do it with would be the Final Fantasy X style option. So you'd have your multiple areas in a town, and then you would have multiple areas in between a town, and then you would have, multiple areas in the next town. So multiple different screens, etc. There's 2 real reasons for that. There's one, Final Fantasy VII, story-wise and like progression-wise, is fairly linear. Now, I don't know how many times you've played it or when the last time you've played it is, but it is fairly linear. At the same time, because the areas are smaller, and like obviously if you have 10 different areas in between a town, you only load up one of those areas at a time. And because of that, they can usually put more detail or more graphical oomph into the effects in the areas. And generally, it can, if done right, give a better experience and a better look and feel and just overall vibe of the area. So I think that would probably be the best option to go for, because I don't think the Final Fantasy 15 style, or maybe the Witcher 3 style, very similar, I don't think that would be in my opinion anyway, the smartest option to go for. I know they'll probably want to go big graphically and all. I mean, Square Enix have this massive, immense quality art team and art design and art style. It's all there, and they're probably going to want to show it off and just get as much visuals as possible out of it. But we'll see how it goes anyway at the end of it. So let me know in the comment section below, what one of the 4 you think would be best suited, and what one you would like to see the most in there. So let me know all that in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can follow me I can't stop laughing for some reason. You can follow me on Twitter, details in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the rest of the videos in my channel.